Good morning.
Good morning.
Kristen, I'm Julie Synan. I'm the Director of Franchise Development for Right at Home. And I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time out today to share a little bit about your experience as a franchisee. I want to ask, it'll be about a 15-minute interview. And I think one of the first questions we'll ask you to share is tell me a little bit about yourself, what you did before you became a franchisee, and where you're located.
Yeah. Um, I'm Kristen Carlson. I have owned Right at Home, Greater Galveston for 19 years, believe it or not. Um, Before that, I was an administrator at a local hospital in the Department of Sealy Center on Aging. So I worked with geriatricians, which is very convenient. Um, and so I have a good relationship with them. And prior to that, I was an administrator at a fertility clinic, which was quite fun. Yeah. Um, so I got into, I will tell you the reason I got into this business, I had been looking for a company, a home care company for my aunt. She was 91 years old, never had kids. And I promised her that she could stay at home. And so she was starting to need help in the shower and that kind of stuff. So I interviewed companies and I said, can she meet the caregiver before she basically gets naked in front of them, you know? And they were all like, no, no. And then they had these minimums per week. So I never hired anybody. So when she passed away, she had over $1 million saved. She gave it to her church and to all her nieces and nephews. And I said, I'm going to take the money that we got and open a business. And so I found Right at Home, and it has just been a storybook adventure for 19 years.
That's beautiful. Wow. What a great tribute to her as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And her picture is in my office. And every caregiver that we hire knows that story. And so, in a way, she was the kind of person that she had a maid when she was little. And when that maid got older, she took care of that maid. And so we're just living her legacy every day in what we do.
That's beautiful. Now tell me where your locations are and a little bit about that part.
Yeah, so Galveston, Texas, which is about 50 miles south of Houston. And then about 4 or 5 years ago, I purchased an existing territory from another owner. And so that is Pearland, Friendswood, which is in South Houston. So we have two territories, but we all operated out of the Galveston office.
Okay, so you've really grown.
Yeah, absolutely.
And another point I thought was interesting, and when you were sharing about your aunt and yourself, you came from a hospital administration role originally, and our founder, Alan Hager, was also in hospital administration. So there's that, that really does resonate, and you really did recognize the need and have been able to move forward and be successful as a
Absolutely.
franchisee. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
when I first um, went to Discovery Day and met Alan and the staff that was in place at the time, I kept like saying, "Where are the warts?" It's like it just was too good to be true. But every step of the way has just been wonderful. We miss Alan, but his legacy again continues in so many ways.
Interesting. So every step of the way, tell me a little bit about the support you receive as a franchisee and how that's been ongoing, what it's meant to you in your business and in your success.
Yeah, so early on, I served on the first franchise advisory committee. It was called the FAC then. It's something totally SLC or something now.
Yep.
Um, and so at the time, we said we need a little bit better support. And Margaret had just come in as the COO at the time and really developed a really robust training and support group. So, I've always said you don't know what you don't know. And there were so many things I didn't know. And what I love about being part of a franchise system is you don't have to make those mistakes that other people have made along the way. And so there's just so much information out there and support. And then also just um, you know, the relationships that corporate builds that help support us and really build the brand name. And it's just truly priceless. I mean, you pay a franchise fee, but it really is worth that cost.
Oh, that makes
And the
sense, right?
royalties. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Like you said, you don't know what you don't know. Fortunately, with over 30 years of experience as a franchise, we do know. So
Yeah,
that's helpful.
exactly. Yeah,
That's really
absolutely.
awesome. What's a day in the life like for you? Can you share a little bit about that and how that may have evolved over the years as
Yeah,
well?
so when I first opened, I did everything. And marketing, billing, payroll, all that stuff. And over the years, it's developed to where, and I have the most wonderful office staff. I have 4 people that work full time, um, that allow me a lot of flexibility at this point. So you get to a point where you get to choose what you like to do, and you can hire for the stuff that you don't really care that much for. So my days now are pretty easy. Um, I work probably 9 to 3. My elderly mother lives with me, so I have my caregivers with her while I'm at work during the day, and then I usually go home around 3 or 3:30 and relieve them, and then I spend the evening with her. Um, when you first start out, I think it's really important to realize that to outdo your competitors, you need to be available when the clients need you. And so that might be weekends, it might be evenings. But if you've got the right staff in place, then that will give you more flexibility, if that makes sense.
And I would say speaking to that, Right at Home does an excellent job of training you in how to find those right staff members and how to also support them, educate them, and see them be successful and also retain them through recognition.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it's also important to say to follow the recipe. When I first started, I thought I had somebody that had worked for me at a previous job and she was really good, very customer service friendly and all that stuff. But I found that in this business, you need somebody that can do everything, not just focus on one task. And so after about 2 months, I said to her, I said, Lisa, this just isn't working out. And she said, no, it isn't. And so, um, I hadn't listened to what corporate had told me of the right person to hire. And so I learned that lesson very quickly. And now I know very much what I need and what I want. And one of the things that I really value is initiative and no drama. So we have an office of 5 women, and we get along really well. We have game nights at my house sometimes, and it's just a really wonderful environment to come to every day. And then to also know that we're making a difference in people's lives is so important to me. So important.
So important. Also, just, honoring your aunt and that the fact that you were able to pivot the way you did when you recognize, recognizing, and that's part of that collaboration that takes place between franchisees, your business coach, and corporate is, hey, this isn't working. Let's pivot. And being open to that and that coaching is very important.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So one more question, and I
Okay.
just can't say enough how much we appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to
Happy to.
speak with me and, just kind of share with prospective franchisees what your experience has been. If you could offer some advice to someone looking to become a franchisee in the Right at Home system, what would that advice be?
I think it would be what I said earlier is to listen to what has worked in the past. Right at Home has 30 years of experience. And um, if you're passionate about what you do, let it show. People know very clearly if you are in it for the right reasons. If you're in it because you want to do the right thing, then that's going to show. Now, Of course, we all want to make money, but the way to do that is to provide the best service. And if you hire the people that can help you do that, then you should be successful. And I often say to my staff, how often do you go to a restaurant or somewhere and you get really good service? Service that makes you go, wow. It doesn't happen very often, but you can make that happen. And if you can provide just the over the top service, and things are going to go wrong, you're going to have things go wrong, but it's how you deal with it and how you present that to the client or to their family. Then you will stand out among your competitors, no matter how many competitors you have, and be successful.
That's wonderful. And what great advice. Any last thoughts you would like to add before we say goodbye today?
Yeah, the thing I would like to say is that Right at Home has become a family. I met Paul and Bob from Minneapolis when I had purchased but not yet gone to training. They have become like family. They've come to my parents' house in northern Wisconsin. And I could say that about probably 20 other offices, just family. And reach, you can reach out not only to your coaches and the people at corporate, but your fellow owners are so supportive. And I've heard other people say there's not a lot of franchises like that. And I'm I'm really, really proud to be part of that Right at Home family.
Thank you for that. And also for your, just everything you're doing to support your community, to support those in need and at Right at Home. Again, appreciate so much your time today. Wishing you continued success and fulfillment in your business at Right at Home. And we'll look forward to seeing you again soon.
Okay, thanks.
Take care.
Bye
Bye.
bye.